Now, if you want to test it out real quick, put it on loop. Put it on loop. You can put it on loop and it'll play if you want to keep it going until you want to stop it. Now start your music. Just leave that alone and go ahead and start your music. Hey Tita.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You know, I can't see nobody.
Hey everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Wita. I see you up here already. Hey, Heavy. Um, good evening, everyone. We are back again to talk about this. You know, it's going to be a series, so we're here to talk about the case, and I already discussed in the last show about how close and personal this case is. So I'm figuring my thought process is that maybe somebody else like is not knowing like me because like I said, this whole legal thing, all of that, this is not our life. So I feel like we was kind of thrown into something that we wasn't ready for. So if this can help anybody that's out there that's watching the video, that would be great because I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I'm going through now. Trying to like bring it back. If I would have known some things, maybe I wouldn't be going through this now. It would have I would have took different routes.
Amen.
So
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to delving into this and hopefully seeing, if some things were wrong, hopefully it's not too late to get these brought up and addressed
right,
legally.
right, and that's the goal, and also to help others as well. So what happened on the last show is what Candy asked me about the demographics of the area that I lived in, right? And I was like, I kind of thought it was more mixed, because that's what I saw a lot of. So what I figured out though, apparently, that I do not what I was going to say, I do not know my area like that, or my neighborhood, or the county I was living in, I should say. I wasn't too familiar as I thought I was with it.
Oh,
So
wow.
with that being said, I was like, okay, I pulled up the demographics. That's what I'm trying to pull up now so I can show you guys of the area.
So while you're pulling that up, Voracious, let me ask you. So you thought that you were just moving, you automatically thought the area that you were moving in where this incident took place, you thought it was a racially diverse area, and now you're finding out that it's not?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it definitely takes a toll on, I don't know. I just feel like it really does take a toll on how you're treated, the area that you choose to live in. Like I would never want to intentionally live somewhere where there wasn't any diversity at all. And and of course me coming from Alaska, I'm used to kind of seeing everybody. So yeah, this is very interesting.
Right. And honestly, I'm the same. I feel the same way. Like I'm usually so good with statistics and everything like that, but like I slipped up big time in the worst way this time. But and now it got me looking over everything because I know where I'm at now is definitely diverse. Because where before the only it could be we could go to me and my husband go to Dollar General, it might be like we could see two more like black people in there we was living at. So, but it wasn't. But it was always like a mixed relationship. It was never two African Americans together. They always people always talked about that. Oh, we never see two black people together. They always talked about that when they saw us, and that's how you know. But because everybody was so mixed, like.
Wow. That it's odd to see a black couple in that area. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So would you be able to pinpoint like how many black couples are in your area or no?
Before I could probably pinpoint, it could have been all together. And you see the population number is what 354,000. Um, Out of that, I can probably count that I could see maybe 10, probably not, but maybe 10 full black couples. Like I had to go to a whole nother part. Like I literally live in a part now where we used to go and see like like all African American black people and stuff like that. And is the treatment is different from one to the other, and I think that's another thing too. But they never really bothered me on that. Like, you know, I never went in the store and they followed me around. Like, they never bothered me on that or nothing like that. But when you where I'm at now, it's like I went to the Walmart in the area, and I showed the man my receipt, and he went through my entire receipt. Like, that stuff I'm not used to, you know, because they look, they, you know, you get a receipt, they look, they go, they look at two things, and then it's that's it. But I was like, wow. I said, this man think that I would literally come to Walmart to, and it was just, but it's just the area that I live in now, you know, and I had to make that choice because like I don't even know who to look at, who to trust, and nothing like that for real.
You know,
Wow.
with Walmart and stuff like that, you check the laws as far as what's considered theft or anything, the amount of the dollar amount of theft or whatever, because then it becomes harassment. I don't even stop at the doors at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? That's like I got a big bulk item that's not in the bag.
Right,
It just depending on my day. But
right,
to be stopping me and checking my whole receipt and I got a whole basket full of stuff, you're not gonna waste my time. I'm trying to get out the store. So
right.
Hmm.
And,
uh,
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't
I
never
mix
stop.
it up.
Yeah,
That's that
I
Sam's Club.
nod. I say, have a good day, and I keep
exactly.
it pushing. Have a good day.
Right. At
Uh-uh.
Sam's Club is where they check two items, not Walmart. Where I was at, Walmart wasn't checked. They was greeters. They was like, "Hey, how you doing?
Right. That's
Oh,
all
you
they
got
are.
something to take back?
That's
Go
all
down
they
here."
are.
That's all they did. But where I'm at now, like dude went through my like I felt the way about that. Now I feel like I need to drive where I'm comfortable at to go to Walmart because you are not gonna be checking me like that, you know, because I didn't come in here to steal and I'm gonna feel away, then I'm gonna say something, then it's gonna be
Right,
something.
but voracious, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to stop. You know what I'm saying? It's not a law for you to stop at the door. So like here in Texas, I think the amount to go to jail or whatever, it gotta be over 1,000 or $3,000 before
Hmm.
they can even charge you for it. So I can walk out the store with a whole damn TV, right?
Hmm.
And don't show my receipt. Y'all can't stop me for that. I can't go to jail for that. You know what I'm saying? So why harass a person at the door for their receipt when you could clearly look down the line and see that they walked out of a register? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, who are y'all really checking for? Are y'all checking for the customer? Or are you checking to see if the employee rung up these items?
Right. Exactly. Hey Gigi, thanks for coming. All right. So as we see, so Bob Casey Jr. and John Fetterman, wherever they at, wherever they stationed at, if it's going to be in Harrisburg, PA, or they in Washington D.C., in less than 30 days, I'm taking a trip and having a meeting with both of them. So that's like part of my agenda of everything. And so here we go to Westmoreland County, right? Man, the population diversity. So the last time they did it was 2022, and there was 35.9 more white non-Hispanic residents of the 328K people in Westmoreland County. And other ethnicity, there were 9.13, which is everything else, with black being 8.558, right? Now, which is, and that's probably all those 10 couples I'm talking about. But the other ones, everybody like they mismatch. They may be with whoever, whatever type of person, you know. But it's definitely it. I thought it was more mismatched than it was, but I don't know. I feel like they be fudging these numbers too, but I really don't know.
Voracious, let me ask you a
And
question. When your
Hmm.
husband was on his trial, because we spoke about this on the last show, do you
Hmm.
recall the ethnicity of his jury of peers?
His whole entire jury was of the Caucasian descent. Even if there was one person there and maybe they were, but they was different Caucasian descent. Like this one lady, I could totally tell she was Polish because of her features. Then there was another lady that I could tell she was Italian, but they was all Caucasian, just different part from different places in there. Like it was not he didn't have nobody eye color, olive tone. I can't even say he had I can't even say if he had a Hispanic person there because I don't remember even any Hispanic looking people on his thing. It was like I couldn't understand, and I asked them. I was like, "Why did you accept this?" Like I said, because I feel like with me, we would have, we gonna have to do this again. Recycle. Let's do this again, and we could have. I feel like I would have did it until, but the thing was, if he prolonged that they gave him this many days for his case. So this is the time frame. If you waste all that time picking a jury, then you don't get your trial to the next month. And then
Okay. So in hindsight, because you know what, a lot of times you have to look back and say, okay, I made a mistake doing this, or we should have done this differently. So in
mhm,
hindsight, do you feel like you guys should have taken the time? Because at the end of the day, with the sentence that he got, it's like maybe like you didn't get anything good out of rushing it.
right,
yeah, that's
right,
basically what they be pinpointing for you to do is to rush you through it so you don't get
Mm-hmm.
the
A fair
jury and
trial.
the
right,
support that you actually need. You know what I'm saying? Well, they'll tell you, oh, well, the next trial, if we reschedule, it won't be till another couple of months. You know what I'm saying? And you thinking that you gonna get somebody that's gonna be able to get you off, or you know what I'm saying, see your case in a way that is gonna help you, and all they doing is rushing you to get you out the way. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was, is they rushed y'all case to get him out the way and did what they did.
right. And pretty much that's the way I feel. Even though because to him, of course, it was taking long because he was in there. But as I was watching, like how long does the case take? Like the timeline on it is about 2 to 3 years, right? But they give you all these different numbers. Oh, this has to be done by that time, this has to be done by that time. But what happened is first we say because he started out with a paid lawyer. However, we had to sign a contract that there was no conflict of interest or whatever like that, right? After about $7,000 in, we found out that the paid lawyer and the dude's baby mother's family were close knit together, right? And it that created a problem. So I went to him and I asked him, like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. And he was like, oh, well, when he deceased, that took the relationship away. I said, well, but if the family is the one that's been paying the legal fees all along, is the relationship really really like
No, it's not, and that's a conflict of interest that's means of a mistrial right there. You know what I'm saying? That's
exactly.
just like what's that rapper dude that's having that case right now, Young Thug, whatever his name is, and they were saying that the judge had a conference call with another client with the defendant and all this other stuff, and the lawyer was going back and forth with them. That's
Hmm.
how they get the mistrial. So you should have been able to get a retrial, you know what I'm saying, for that. That might be something you need to be looking into as far as that. Cause I mean, even you speaking to them about their relationship or whatever, for you to find out that the judge knew that also.
Right. And so what my husband did was he wrote the judge, right? So where we at, like I said, everybody's friends, they go to barbecues together, they do this, this, and that, right? Now my husband is in there. The guy is a career criminal. He's for that he had a 18-year record. Like the most of the time that even when we known him, he spent more time in jail than out. So the little times that he was out, it used to really be on my nerves because he was just reckless. But he was like a real, like he was like 40 something, you know. So it was just he was just too much for me. And like my husband kept thinking like, well, if he see this, he see that, because he had like three little kids. So and my husband is thinking like, oh, well, will he see us like this and this? And I'm like, it don't make a difference like what we doing, you know, because he has a higher priority because he has an addiction, you know, so that doesn't is that's going to outweigh everything. But he kept thinking that he could help this guy by showing him like this is what you can do and this is, you know, just stop going to jail. But so now my husband ends up in there with all his friends pretty much. So they saying this and saying that. So by the time everything happened, then one person told him that, oh, he does this, the lawyer used to do this. Oh no, him and the lawyer is friends, like they tight, whatever, whatever. So my husband writes a letter to the judge telling him like, hey, it's a conflict of interest. I don't feel comfortable with this lawyer on my case and stuff like that. However, they say that the lawyer does not have to give us the money back, right? So now we like in a stuck place because I using all whatever has saved, whatever I'm getting, doing whatever to pay this lawyer, and now you're telling me I need to start over from scratch with a whole new lawyer and all of that. So, and of course, the down payment has started, and you know you got to pay the down payment and everything. So it wasn't. It was just like. So then the judge was like, "Oh, well, we'll give you a court appointed lawyer." And then that's how we got to that space, even because we started out with a paid lawyer, but we started out with the wrong paid lawyer, you know.
And you know what? That's unfortunate because, just as you and I were talking, um, the right lawyer and the right representation literally is what stands between you and your freedom. From
Right.
everything that I've seen, and it's like lawyers are expensive. So when you're trying to do the right thing and make sure you have the right representation, to feel like, wow, money down the drain when we should have had someone else working on our behalf, I'm sure that's heartbreaking because, like I said, people go under trying to defend their loved ones. You know what I mean? And get them
Hmm.
lawyers. They put their houses,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. And so it's because they know that if I have to leave my freedom in the hands of a public defender, I may not be going home at all. And it's sad that people have to have that choice because, yeah, we have a system where you can get representation in a public defender, but how good is the representation going to be?
Right.
It's like once you get a public defender or whatever, you have to do your homework on they butts before you even say, yeah, it's just it's crazy. But
Right.
even though we
And
know as a public defender, they just there for the check. You know what I'm saying? Like they not there to really defend you on a case where a person has a paid lawyer.
and I don't know if you guys know, you Tita or you Voracious. So if you're not happy with your public defender, I know you can let your lawyer go, but how does that work when you are using a public defender? Do you have the
So
choice to run through them like, hey, I'm not feeling the direction they're going. They're not listening to us. They're not,
Yeah,
taking into
yeah.
account anything we had to say. So can you do that unlimited times? How
I'm gonna
does that
say
work?
I don't know if it's
I'm gonna say
unlimited.
no. Right. I'm
Right,
gonna say no. I'm gonna
right.
say no because so first he got this one public defender, right? What was his name? James. He's tagged in there, James, and he had a funny last name, a long last name, right? Now he seemed to be all in, and he was very dedicated to the case. He would not only talk to him, but talk to me as well. If he talked to my husband, then he called me, talk to me. Okay, this is what it is, or that. Somehow, for some reason, this man just well, he ain't up jump. He got a better position someplace doing something else. He was not originally from the area of Westmoreland County. He was originally from Allegheny County. And then he started like when he started saying certain things to me, I could tell when they were stressing him out because he's like, it's just a total different mentality. It's a total different mentality from what he's used to, right? So then all of a sudden, he was out. He wasn't him no more. So they called my husband up. Okay, well, he left. He went here, whatever, whatever. This is who you getting, right? And this was another guy, same first name, different last name. And he my husband didn't like him. Not didn't yeah, he didn't like him. When he came, the man seemed nonchalant. He didn't seem like, oh, he was like, but at the time, the second, what they call him, the secondary one, he seemed like interested and he seemed like he was like focused into the case and stuff. But at that time, he was literally an intern and he had just took his bar. So of course you can't do anything until you take your bar for real. I mean, until you get the results back. But I thought you can like pay to get that back early, but I guess not. But so he had him, and then when he told them like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with him, whatever, whatever, the judge didn't change him. But like I said, when he wrote the letter, the judge was upset because like, oh, how dare you talk about this man like that? He's a lawyer. He wouldn't put that to the like he really like took offense, like, yo, that's my friend. Like, and I
Right.
told
I was just gonna say it sounded like he got a connection with him, and even with them having the same first name, right? Voracious. Just
Mhm,
look at it like this. So they put the guy on there that was actually helping y'all. He
mhm.
was from different county and all this other stuff. They probably thought they was originally putting the one that he didn't like in there, and they made him go off into something else because they wasn't gonna apply what he was asking for. You know what I'm saying? So they just basically got rid of him. But you should still be able to get in contact with that lawyer or public defender because he's not in that county.
Right. I've been trying to find him. He is like totally
Because
off the map
it
right
sounds like they just pick and choose who they want to do on each case because they know, what I'm saying, who they can bring up and who they can't bring
now.
up.
Right. Right.
If they already got a relationship with that one defender, what I'm saying, they already know how far they can go with him. But by that new guy, what I'm saying, questioning them and putting fire to him, what I'm saying, they like, oh no, we got to get rid of him. We got to go with the person that's gonna go with what we say.
Right. And that's pretty much like as I go through the transcripts and stuff, that's pretty much what it's going to be. It's like whoever is involved is in agreement with the prosecution. Like they really like it really was like I couldn't like I feel like I feel like I watched a movie, but it's not a movie because it's my real life, and I'm still trying to but the thing is that I feel like everybody was too connected. I feel like his case should have came out of that county altogether because everybody is friends. You cannot operate a courtroom when everybody's friends. And then the one day, I think they didn't even bring my husband down, but I was in the courtroom for whatever. They were supposed to bring him down, but they didn't. And the prosecutor, and that's when we had the paid lawyer, they were like bickering back and forth like little kids right in the courtroom in front of me like I'm watching this, right? And then the judge is like, you know what, you two need to go sit over there. And he sent them over there to the where the jury sit, because there wasn't no jury at that time. He sent them over there and was like, y'all sit down and y'all talk and y'all learn how to play together. I said, if this is not no
Wow.
Keystone Cop crap right here, like I could not believe that I had just heard that and saw that. And they both literally went over there and sat down. And I said, that man, they are working together. That's when I knew dude
Yeah,
was
there was
like,
no professionalism in that. Talking
yeah,
like that. Where was the
I
professionalism?
think we need to be finding out how to get in contact with Attorney Crump for you on some real shit, because that's ridiculous.
it's
That's,
yeah,
that's
it's
ridiculous.
crazy.
Even
So
for the whole county to be in tune with each other, family with each other, kinfolk, best friends, and it's a small um population there. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is colleagues and friends. Like y'all didn't stand a chance.
right. And that's what I said. And because we needed to be, we had to be in the right circle. And we wasn't in the right circle because that's not our lane. We got our own circle. You know what I'm saying? We're doing our own thing. Like we shouldn't have to be friends with all these people. Only way you friends with all these people is if you out there in the streets with them or you work with them or whatever. Neither one of us have that feel. Like my husband, he started like, okay, so he been on the internet doing these shows since shoot, like 1980, when internet, he started when AOL was an option, going in, out, whatever, doing these shows and DJing and stuff on the internet. Like he has, I'm gonna start putting shorts of his work and his interviews that he did with people and stuff on my page. So like actually you get to see like this is who he is and this is what he was doing, before this. And I feel like he was doing too much as a black man in that county, and they shut everything down. I mean, after this happened, I spent a year trying to still maintain his radio station because he had a whole radio station going on, right? Trying to maintain the radio station. Meanwhile, I don't know how to do nothing because that's not my lane. You know what I'm saying? My lane is being a therapist. I talk to people, I help them get better. That's what I do. So it then that took a toll, like on like the whole household, everything, because of, it's a lot because they pulled the one person out. And for real, we was a circle. What we had was each other, you know but they I feel like we was doing too much, that he wasn't back and forth in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like they really didn't know him. Even when they found out we was from New York, they was like, oh, they guess they was gonna find out that he had this horrendous record or whatever. And yeah, they found out, oh yeah, he had an open container ticket and he had a jump in the turnstile ticket when he was like 17. So even that wasn't enough, you know. But it's like so much to the case that is crazy. Like, okay, so we have like, and definitely this part right here was like the war, the veterans. Like this is a high veteran town. Like he probably still went to the military and it would have been better off. But yeah, that wasn't our thing. um so right here, so it's like, and that's what it is. And mostly all of them were in the military, so they also have that association. Not the guy that he had the altercation with, but everybody else that's in a circle. And then that's how they, like, if you come down here, like if you're in the military, if you have been in the military and you come down here and get a job, like I can go for a job, and somebody who was in the military go for a job, the person in the military is going to get the job before me, no matter what. Even if I'm more qualified, whatever, it don't matter. So, with that, I wanted to clarify like what the statistic was in the area that I was in, because when Candy brought it up the last time, I was totally off balance with it, and when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my goodness,"
Yeah. because it in instances like these, a lot of times, now I don't know specifically, but I have heard times where they're like, okay, well, we need to move the venue because they're not going to get a fair trial and things like that. But and I
Hmm.
think the same thing should apply. If I'm not really going to get a jury of my peers and I'm going to be convicted by a bunch of people who totally can't relate to me at all, my mindset, what I may have been thinking in that moment, they could just be all a jury full of racists. You never know. I mean, maybe there's good people mixed in there, but it's real. If nobody looks like me, it's not a jury of my peers just because we may be in the same age
Right.
group
Because
at
I
all.
feel like, let's say, if not a black person came up, you would still need somebody from the city, not somebody, because it's mostly the city parts that's like, there. You would still need somebody from, you can't pull, like, it's apparent they pull everybody from the suburbs. You could tell that these people lived in the suburbs. And whoever lived in, and it was like mostly women. It definitely was mostly women. And that's what the lawyer who we first had. So he's the one that was like, when I said, well, he'll have a chance because he'll have a jury of his peers. And he's the one that laughed and he said, well, he's not going to have a jury of his peers. He's going to have retired nurses and he's going to have like people who are disabled and, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, how could he not have a jury of his peers? I said, because don't it go by the people who vote and everything? And he was like, well, yeah, but it just never comes up that way. And for the life of me, I need to know how, because I know that I vote all the time. I've never came up for jury duty since I've been here, right? So I don't know if it's because I'm not originally from here. They like, oh, we don't want her opinion or whatever. But I know I'm not the type of person who like I'll go to jury duty because at least I know that this person, I have at least one fair person there, because I'll hold it up if it has to happen, but I don't know how they doing this.
No, they go by your the censors um population thing or whatever. Like as far as the population and all that, that's how they pull you also for jury duty and stuff like that. So um when they looking up your name and stuff, they already know you connected to your husband. So no, they're not gonna pick you for jury duty because of what they done to your husband.
Well, no, I'm saying before that. Like we was out here 8 years
Well,
before that.
even with that, because y'all are a couple that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
they
But
just
how
like they saying they handpicked the jury and all that stuff, or it's a jury or your peers. They picking them by who they want to pick. You know what I'm saying? They looking at your background and everything before they pick you for jury duty.
right.
I sure would like to know what this jury duty that I got coming up on the 5th, what this gonna be like, cause listening to this, and if they think they gonna be having me in there, nah, I'm not with none of that.
um
I'm not with none of that. They might as well don't even ask me to be back, and this would be actually my first time ever making one, cause every other time that they selected me for jury duty, I always had something going on where I could get out of.
so let's go to heavy, right? Hold up. I can't even get to, oh, I know why. Never mind. He said, I don't trust the jury of my peers. And you know something? I do get that because personally, I know a lot of people that should not be on jury duty, you know, but I feel like the people that's on jury duty who are like our peers, I feel like the people to go are the people who one want to be there, the people who want to be fair to other people to make sure that their people do get a fair trial. And I feel like that is a responsibility to make sure your person have a fair trial because you can have a whole 11 people turn on you for that, So I definitely get it. But I know in this state and in that area that there were at least 2 to 3 people willing to be on that trial that would have gave a fair opinion of what they saw in her, because as we saw, what it takes is for you to say, you have to prove that this person planned that. You know what I'm saying? So what they convicted him of is something that they say he sat down and planned for hours. Meanwhile, the situation had just jumped up in that time frame. But since he didn't have a jury of his peers, they're like, oh, for me, another black person off the streets. We don't got to worry about that one. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I feel like they felt. Like the one lady, I feel like I think she was the foreman at that. And they definitely paid her. Like she had the I've been paid and this is what's going to happen attitude. And when all of this is over and done, I need about 10 to 20 words with her for real. Because I know that this is going, because this is, yeah, we can't, it can't happen like that, because it's the whole thing wasn't fair. But I totally get what you're saying. And it's many, I agree. It's many people that I know that I would not want on my jury, because they just like, and but people just want that upper hand as well. Like, oh, I had control of this. It's like that whole bully syndrome. And I
No,
feel like,
I don't think it'd be like that. Voracious. I think it'd be like they don't want to be there at all, so they'll do anything to sabotage it. You know what I'm saying? Like you wasting my time, so I'm gonna waste y'all time, not knowing how they putting other people's lives in jeopardy. If you just actually sit and listen to the case and do what you're supposed to do while you there. You know what I'm
no, I
saying?
don't mean
So
your peers. I'm talking about the other people. Like,
right, but oh, okay. I thought
I'm
you were still
saying
talking
like
about the
they
kids.
be and they bully like, oh, this is just another black person off the streets, whatever. Like not
Mhm.
peers, the other people. I feel like they feel like that, and that's their time. Like they've probably been bullied, somebody cursed them out, and then it's like a lot of prejudice because you know I'm in a red area. Like the helicopter when that orange person was president,
Mhm.
his helicopter used to land in the baseball field 1 block away from where we lived at. That's when I we probably should have got out of it then. But for whatever reason, I think God had us there. And I feel like this was his plan the whole time. And we're gonna see where we go from there. Because maybe everybody will be famous from this. Like them. I don't want to be famous. But them, they're gonna be on the map. Everybody gonna know what type of people they are. Because that's what I really want. I want the world to know what type of leadership Westmoreland County, PA is putting out.
I
You
got a
know.
question, Voracious.
Go ahead.
So you said your husband had a radio station, right?
Yeah.
Radio. So was it like what was his topic or like what kind of stuff did he do on the radio station? Because that might
He
influence them to target him also because he had a voice that was over the air and you know what I'm saying, spreading the word over the air of whatever topics he was talking about and they didn't like that. So it sounded like they target him also on that, depending on what he was talking about.
Yeah, one he was a DJ. Like he has been a DJ since I for before I knew him. And me and him, I know him like over 30 years, but we only been married for like 27. I think I said 30 the last time, but that's wrong. We only been married for 27, but I know him over 30 years. And he was a DJ before I met him. So that's what he was doing on there DJing, and then he interview people like, and he have introduced, I mean interviewed a lot of people like Choke No Joke. He's did his interview. Rampage, Krisha, Miss Toy, like different people, other DJs and stuff from radio stations. He's done them. Um, so his one D MC Sham, him and MC Sham had a, I don't know if you guys know him from Queensbridge, but he was like a rapper. He's a rapper from New York, and him and MC Sham had a whole thing going back and forth. It had a little, it was a lot. And MC Sham actually has a record out about my husband. It's funny, kind of cowboy thing. And
Wait,
that was
you
from
mean
Queen.
MC Shan from back in the day?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this the same one I'm thinking of? MC Shan,
Mm-hmm.
MC Shan.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
He like so many people, like he's done over Dr. Umar. Him and he interviewed Dr. Umar.
And,
That's
and that's what I was getting at. It was he on subjects like Dr. Umar. I was just about to ask you
Yeah,
that. That's why I asked you
he
that.
was
Like, what type
definitely.
of
Mhm.
conversations was he having? So that's what I'm saying. Like, they target Dr. Umar all the time because they know he got a voice. You know what I'm saying? And for your husband to be in tune with people like that and give them the voice on his platform, I feel they probably target him also with that.
And that's another thing I feel like it was because it's like, oh, it's too much. Like, oh, he gonna bring because then even the people in the area was like, wow, you have a radio station? How do you have a radio station? And then when they go on and they see, yes, it's an internet station, but he has his back end, like how he really made his money was military people, like the overseas. They loved his station. That's what kept his station going overseas, not really in the States, you know, because if they a lot of people, you just got the radio, you turn it on, whatever, but overseas they have it if they want to hear this music, like it was like, it's good, so like I get that. And I believe he got, because he did an interview of Hazel E, right? When he did the interview with Hazel E, Mona Scott contacted him and told him, do not play that interview, right? And I believe from that he got blackballed from like certain people like that, because then certain interviews he couldn't get anymore. Because even though Mona Scott, I was like, even though Mona Scott got in contact with him and told him that and stuff like that, he was like, what? Nah, we did the interview. That, and he posted it and he, let it go. And Hazel E, that's when you guys saw her kind of disappear from Love and Hip Hop, because she went against Mona Scott too and did the interview because Mona Scott told her not to, but she wanted to do it. So that's how, and then she had to kind of come back from that. So I kind of get the struggle that she had to try to keep herself going. But both of them did their own thing, like as far as that was concerned. And I think it was a good thing he got blackballed from that, because I didn't want to be no parts of that. But and this is a type of stuff that he did. He interviewed artists and stuff like that. So I feel like, yeah, maybe it was too much for them, but they didn't have to watch it. I felt like.
So that puts me in a bit on the other side of the this stuff that's going on now with the Diddy and stuff. These people getting blackballed and all this stuff because these people don't have power, don't want these people talking. So you know what I'm saying? Your husband had an influence to get those people on there speaking their stuff. Hazel E wasn't supposed to speak on it. She did it anyway. Your husband did it anyway. They both got blackballed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a reason that they didn't want her to speak, and the reason Mona Scott called your husband to make sure that she wasn't able to speak. But since
Right.
they went on and did it, you know what I'm saying? You got all these people in power in this industry that's doing all the shit that they doing now.
Right. Heavy is funny. Heavy said, I don't know who that is. You talking about MC Sham. Just type in "The Bridge is Over" and then that's who MC Sham is. That was his biggest thing that he like.
The bridge is over. The bridge is over. The bridge is over. That song.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep,
See?
yep.
Yeah, happy, you too
If
young,
I
baby.
can,
You too young, baby. You
I'm in the process of going through like my husband's stuff, like, and if I can find that song, the song he did about my husband, it was hilarious. We couldn't do nothing but laugh about it. But he put it on his album and everything, and I was like, wow. But it was crazy. And he did that because we moved to Pennsylvania from Brooklyn, and he felt it was country. Meanwhile, he was in Georgia. I don't know what you talking about, dude. But it was funny though, and I liked it though.
well,
um
maybe he knew something that y'all didn't know about Pennsylvania, though.
you know something, he probably did, because when the more I do, like, it took me a minute to realize the Keystone Cop thing and what that meant. But I remember when I used to watch Bugs Bunny when I was a kid, they used to always have these things with the Keystone Cops, and they was always like funny because they was not bright at all. They all always did crazy stuff. They did not know what was going on. Like if they head wasn't attached with their body, they would have left that at the station. But it took me a minute to realize that this is who I was dealing with, like the mind frame of their mentality and stuff. So then once I got that, then I had to like separate people out because I actually am more familiar with like certain people over other people. You know, if like professional people I could deal with, but the people from the streets and stuff like that, I really can't deal with the mentality because it's just why do you think like that type thing? Okay, let me help you think better, you know? And sometimes that I feel like everybody's a job. So I just be like, okay, I get paid for this now. So I can't exactly give my services like that. But when I see certain people, like I have to help them think differently because I can't believe you think like that, you know? So I think that's why I'm here. Like for years, people say, "How did you get that far out there? How did you get all the way there? Everybody else stopped in Eastern PA. How did you get to Western PA?" But for whatever reason, God wanted me out here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been here. You know, so it's so many states. I tried to move to South Carolina already, North Carolina already, and I always wound up back in New York. This is the first place I came, and I stayed, and it's a reason that we're here. Even though we're going through this now, there's a reason we're going through this. So, and I know it's going to be a rainbow at the end. So it's just, yeah,
Did you see this question, Voracious?
I'm looking. How many years is your husband facing? Life.
Life. And here's a
Yeah.
follow up question as well.
And what's his status now? Still life. And
And tell us once again, just to refresh everyone, how long has he been in at this point?
so he went in August 17th, either August 16th or 17th of 2021. We was in the middle of COVID when this happened. Like
Okay.
it's yeah.
So this is a relatively new sentence. So of course you
Hmm.
guys are trying to fight because, you know, this, like I said, it's a relatively new sentence, and to be facing life imprisonment, you know, when you don't feel like you should be there, of course, you guys are at the point where you're fighting for your husband's life right now. So yeah.
Right. And
So
then go ahead,
go
Keita.
ahead, go ahead.
And the thing about it is that in our state, so I have a clip too about self defense laws, right? So in our state, okay, so maybe I should say this. This is the story. Now we all have to know I was not there, but my husband and my son was there. So I have to put everything together from them, and my son was the witness to it all. Um okay, my husband and he went out, then he got dude, and then he came back into the house and picked up my son. They went to a couple of different bars. At this time, my son was 20. My son don't drink, so he only had soda and stuff like that. But he was hanging out with his dad, listening to music because that's what my husband likes to go out to the bars to listen to music, right? So he was out there, and honestly, they was out at the bar. Like he should have met. Maybe he should have communicated with more people because he was at the bars that the lawyers and stuff exactly hang out at. Um, so they was there, and uh, I guess the dude met some other these two other couples, whatever like that. Then he told no, they went yeah. He told them that hey, the couple wanted this because dude is a hustler. He always trying to make a dollar, whatever, whatever. And he went out, so they went out. Then my husband's like, oh well, I just got here, so I'm leaving because he was asking my husband to take him to some such and such so that he can get whatever. And my husband's like, nah, we just got here. I just got my drink and stuff. I'm listening to the vibes. I'm talking to my son, whatever. So they were sitting there. And all the pictures that they showed, it showed just my husband and my son all the time. Dude was not really in none of the pictures. Even when he was in one of the pictures, he was sidetracked over there off to the other side. Like you could see him face the other way. So they went out. So then my husband probably said, okay, I'm gonna take you, whatever. So now he got my son, they all in the car, my son is in the back with the other two people that they just met or whatever. And they go there. So the dude comes back out and he says that oh, I'm about to rob these people. So my husband's like, yeah, nah, don't do that, because I got my husband, this car's in my wife's name, all of that. I can't have nothing coming back to her. And no, we not doing that. That's not what we out here for tonight. We out here to have a good time. And dude got mad at him and was like, yo, um you don't never be down with none of this stuff, whatever, whatever. And my husband's driving. When they leaving the place, he said, my husband's like, yo, just get the people, whatever, whatever. And I'm dropping you off, dropping them off. That's the night. Dude at that point turned around and punched my husband in the face. My husband stopped the car and was like, everybody get out. And then when the people started getting out, dude jumped out. He ran around to where my husband was at. That's when all the commotion happened and everything. So they had a little tussle. My son got out the car, and then he was looking. And then they had a little tussle, whatever. My husband was able to get the firearm from dude, and that's when he told him. Then my son told me that he said he was just holding it, told him just leave me alone. Dude said, you're not going to do nothing, you're not going to do nothing. And then he kept coming at my husband, so my husband just started firing. And I don't know, they say he fired too many times, but he just started firing because he said dude kept coming at him, and my son said
But
dude was
they,
coming at him.
how can it be too many times when you think your life is on the line?
That's
They think that people are thinking, like, literally you're fighting for your life with someone in the midst of a fight, and they think that you're going to have the mental wherewithal to say, okay, let me just do it one time, let me make sure. No, you want them down, you want to be safe.
right.
So that's
And
crazy to even have said that to somebody. Oh, well, you shot too many times. Like,
right,
literally, it could have been a reaction, just a reaction.
that's
So
what I
what
said.
was it too many times for that man to shoot that girl in her face? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. I'm trying to figure out like how many. If somebody is coming at you, you got the gun. You had to wrestle the gun from them. So you
Hmm.
already in self defense. You got your child with you, and you telling him to bag off. So
Right.
he not bagging off. He's charging you and your child. So now you're protecting you and your child. So
Thank
how
you.
is that too many times?
And to top it off, my son is the one that told me that he kept telling him to stop. And dude was saying, you're not going to do nothing. You're not going to do nothing. Why? Because he already know that my husband is not that type of person. So he figured that he wasn't even going to shoot. So he was probably going to take advantage again. And once he shot, that was it. And I get it, because you got two things going on, fight or flight. So the other thing they was holding on, that they was holding, and like they don't understand, like my point in this view is that he did not stay at the scene. What he did do was he brought my son home, which he should have brought my son home to me. That's the way I feel. Maybe it was wrong, I don't know, but that's what he should have did according to me, because
Well, yeah, well, according to them, that's
yeah.
basically had a witness. You know what I'm saying? Because your son was there to witness it all. So for them to be able to question exactly what happened, your husband took your son home to you. That
Mhm.
left them to do whatever they wanted to do. So it would have been probably in his favor if he would have kept your son with him.
If he would, well, the thing is, it's like a fight or flight thing. Like
Hmm.
me being a therapist, that's what it is. You got two things. Some people, they fight, that's what had happened. So his adrenaline going, he fight, then he flighted, and that's exactly, and that's a normal thing to do. Like we had another there was another situation maybe a year and a half before him, right, where a guy, the altercation was about a woman. Most things that happen down here, it's about a woman for real. um but the guy's baby mother and some video on Facebook or whatever, and he approached dude and say, "Hey, why you disrespect my baby's mother?" And dude is like, "Well, I might be your baby mother, but I'm her man now, so we do what we do, whatever, whatever, like that." And the guy, and they was at a football game, and at the school. So dude wanted to fight him and stuff like that. And they said dude was getting upper hand and everything like that. But the guy that was the baby father had a gun on him. He turned around and they said from the floor he shot dude's no longer here either. So, but he has a license to carry. He, at the same time, they said dude was beating the crap out of him for real. Like, so I can imagine he felt his life was in danger too. However, even though he had a license to carry, was his gun, whatever, I think they had him do like 7 years. So at the state of self defense in Pennsylvania, right, I have a video that I have pulled up, which tells you the rights of a person with self defense.
Oh, are we playing a video? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hear any sound.
We can hear.
Hold up. You guys can't hear it. Let me try it again.
See, and
Can
today
you
I,
hear it
I
now?
want to talk to you about a question that I get from clients a lot. What are the laws, self-defense laws in the state of Pennsylvania? Traditional self-defense allows a person to use force to protect himself or another person, and you can use the amount of force that you're threatened with. For example, if a person threatens you with their fist, you're not allowed under the law to use a firearm, but you are allowed to repel that attack with your fist. So it has to be commensurate with the force that you're threatened with. Now, if you're threatened with deadly force, or you reasonably believe that you're threatened with deadly force, the law allows you, if it's reasonable, to use deadly force. And it could even be a mistaken belief. Perhaps it's dark outside. You believe that a person is armed. You don't see what's in their hand. They made a threat towards you, and you take force. While that might be a mistaken belief, if we look at it the next day, at that time, the jury is required to put themselves in your shoes at that exact time. They're not allowed to look back at the situation and exercise hindsight. So if it's a reasonable belief, it can be a mistaken belief. That's traditional self-defense. In other words, I've had a case like that recently where a client believed that a person was armed because the person had threatened them with violence, and ultimately had to use deadly force. And a jury came back and determined that although it was a mistaken belief, it was a reasonable one in light of all the circumstances at hand. That's the self defense statute. But Pennsylvania just recently expanded something that's called the Castle Doctrine. And it pretty much says that deadly force is presumed necessary in three situations. One, if a person is in the process of entering your home, work, or occupied vehicle. Two, if a person actually enters your home, occupied vehicle, or work. Or three, if the person actually tries to unlawfully remove a person from the home, an occupied vehicle, or your work. In those scenarios, the law presumes that deadly force is presumed necessary. That's extremely important because if you find that's an extremely important law because if you find yourself charged, it presumes that deadly force is necessary. And in the eyes of the law, it's not the defendant's burden to prove that They acted in self-defense. It's the Commonwealth's burden to prove that you didn't act in self-defense. So if you have a situation where the law presumes that you were reasonable and that your life was threatened, it's really important that you have a skilled lawyer to understand what the castle doctrine is. That's something rather new. It's kind of like Florida self-defense laws, the stand your ground law. This is something that's a widespread trend. So you have several states that have adopted laws like that. Pennsylvania just recently adopted a law like that. It's very different. It makes it very hard for the prosecution because it's the prosecution's burden to prove that self-defense was not reasonable. Defendants have no burden of proof. So if you have a law that says that force is presumed reasonable, it makes it almost impossible for the Commonwealth to prove that the force wasn't reasonable. So that's a very, very powerful law. If you've been charged with a violent offense and you believe that you might have acted in self-defense, you need an experienced and aggressive attorney on your side to prove your innocence. Don't hesitate to call the law offices of Roy Galloway, LLC at 717-737-3300. Thank you.
Now,
So
for me, that was
basically,
very insightful.
so
Hmm.
basically, if it's not your home, you can't do no deadly force. But if somebody walking up on you with a gun, threaten you with a gun, you take the gun away from me, and your child is standing there, is still not considered. I mean,
No,
what's that's considered?
no, he can actually because it's still his vehicle. So dude, like the dude when he assaulted him first, he was in the
Right, he
vehicle.
slapped them in
It's
the
the
car.
person, right? It's the person, your vehicle, or your home. These are the three things that they can't fight you on. And the whole thing is like, and you see exactly what dude said. Now, I didn't see this video until yesterday, right? Because everything I had read said that. So now for him to say it, so I had put his information down because when I did see it yesterday and I called, of course the office was closed. But I wanna I want to talk to them. Like what can we do? Like, yeah, we do need an aggressive attorney on the appeal. Although they will not take the guy. Okay, so oh God, it's just so much. Okay, wait. Heavy had a question. I don't want to bypass that. I saw it. Uh, uh, okay. How did his lawyer handle the case? If you ask me, he didn't. So, which when I go through everything, you'll see. But I can tell you this: the lawyer didn't have any expert witnesses at all. Um, the when it came to how you have people who vouch for you, stuff like that, he was like, oh, he gave me that job, oh, have them give me letters and stuff like that, when that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to reach out to people and get statements and stuff so they can have that. But that's what the job that he gave me, and that's what I didn't understand. I'm like, hey, you want me to do what? So then when I'm asking people and they're like, what do you want me to write? What is it supposed to say? Like that. But meanwhile, when I watched another video, like I said, if I had like more heads up and stuff on what to do, I would have handled it different. I would have told him, hey, that's your job. You're supposed to reach out to these people and do that, because when he told me, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. And I tried, and then they're like, well, what do you want me to write? I don't know. Write what you know about him. I don't know. But if he would have called them and told him, he could have told them exactly what to write. So what did he do? Nothing. He walked in there. Now I'm gonna say this, and I'm not being disrespectful, but the first time when I met his lawyer in that courtroom, and he had on that polyester suit that I used to see on the TV shows from like 1973, I was alarmed because all the lawyers that I ever see, they always walk in suited and booted. And when
Look, this lawyer came in looking like Denzel. Remember that movie? Denzel was a lawyer and he was looking all crazy.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I know this is a serious situation, but when you said that, that's the first thing that ran across my mind.
Exactly.
What
That's
was the name of
exactly
that
right.
movie? Okay. Go ahead, B.
So that's the first time that I was like, and they kept saying, "Yo, why you keep talking about the man's suit?" I say because he is not dressed to win, you know. So it's just certain things that happen that you're like, oh, okay. So what's the big thing? I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Um, s- let's say, do you think like a illness can keep a person from steady being mindful of their job, being focused on their job? Because what we did find out at the end of the trial that his lawyer was fighting stage 4 cancer.
Oh, he shouldn't have been
Oh,
on
I
nobody
definitely
case.
at all.
He
You're
shouldn't have been on
like
nobody damn
literally
case.
you're
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 on
looking
all
for
type
him
of
to do.
medication. You're on all type of
Mhm.
medication and all type of shit. So hell no.
And I'm
And
a
that's another mistrial. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
thank you. Because and this is what I'm saying. I'm like, it's this is what I'm saying because I'm like, okay, I had less than that going on, right? And the medication that I was on had me not able to do my job to the full capacity. So I know, like, and I can't. When we found that out, they was like, and the judge, this is a judge because my husband, he brought that up. Like, the judge was like, well, that doesn't affect his ability to be a lawyer because he's been a lawyer since such and such and such. No, a diagnosis does affect your ability because it affects your mental health.
You better call Dr.
Definitely.
Umar.
It's
Look,
yeah,
call
it,
Dr.
and
Umar. Call Dr. Umar. He already done know. He know your husband. All that stuff. I will try to get in contact with that man, and he can tell
yes.
you exactly what the hell that shit is.
And
Like
stage
for
4
real.
cancer ain't no way that he was neglecting getting treatment and the things that he needed to do to save his life. He definitely wasn't concentrating on saving your husband's life because he was worried about himself during that time.
Right.
He
And that's
getting his damn brain fried
But
from chemo and all type of shit. So
exactly.
what the fuck?
and literally the last case that he tried was my husband. After my husband's case, the next before it ended on Thursday, Monday, he was out on leave and he never came back. He passed away the
Yeah,
January.
because he know what the fuck he did was wrong, and this shit killed him instantly. That's why.
So, and that's and it's like, and it's just like where we're at. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Like for all this time, I'm just figuring out, I'm getting information and all of this just gathering, like, what do I do? And I just, and all I can do, like all I've always done my life was talk to God. And then after a certain time, I believe that He took my mobility away for a reason so that I can sit down and concentrate on this because I believe this is why I'm here. Something from this is going to change the whole dynamics of their
It
system
is. It is. And what you getting on
because
this
they're
right, and what you getting on this internet and getting the hang of being talkative to people when you know really wouldn't want to do this, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, as far as the radio station with your husband and stuff like that, now you actually stepping into what he actually was doing, but just on a different side.
right.
So yeah, it's something gonna come out of it, and it's gonna be for the good because this is the year of exposure, and these people need to get what's coming to them for real. All these people that's doing all this evil shit is gonna come to them. We just gotta keep praying
Yeah.
and try to stay calm about it, cause baby, it's a lot.
This is definitely a year of exposure, and that's for everybody. Nobody's off the table.
Not at all.
So, and I'm like, because okay, so what I went to school for, okay, yes, I do with drug and alcohol therapists and stuff like that. What I went to school for though is for a life shortening gerontology social worker. Like that's my specialty. That's what I study, right? So all my practicums were done with clients on hospice with people, and one of them was in a hospital with people suffering in their last days of like their stage 4 cancer to Mets, right? So, with that being said, I know what I saw there, and I know the mental health of those people because I had to sit there and talk to them about it. So, do I feel like his lawyer was any different than that, although he was showing up to that courtroom all 4 of those days? No. Mentally, he wasn't there. Mentally, he was most likely, am I even going to make it here tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Like he really didn't know because it was like he was struggling. He was struggling to find his outfit with them polyester suits on. And I'm like, my husband told me to stop talking about that, but I told him, I said I did not have a good feeling when I saw that because he was not dressed to win. And it was just like maybe to me, he was back in some place where we weren't. He thought he was doing something that we wasn't, even was because the only witness he was able to call up on the stand for my husband was me. I don't know how good of a witness I made for him, but
But
I
how
was,
he was gonna call you up and not call your son up?
no, they called my, no, because you know why? The prosecution called my son up, and they did. Okay, so now, and that's another thing that like we deal with, because before that my son had one incident with the police in New York, and he really didn't have a good effect about that because all he was doing was walking down the street, and they was like, ah, what you doing, da, 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 and he was going to the store, you know, and that was like in his grandmother's neighborhood. And so he really didn't have a thing. So now with them and what they did and turn his words around and all of that, like he really has a distaste for the legal system altogether. I'm trying to get him to talk to somebody, but he's very stubborn. And because he saw a lot that night, and he feels like they took his words and screwed them around and turned them up and stuff like that. So, with that being said,
So voracious. So did
mhm,
once your husband brought your son home, right? Did
mhm,
they ever come and pick your son up to question him? Or I mean, how did that go as far as questioning your son from the
they
beginning?
came
Before them?
the next day. They came and they talked to my son. So, of course, my son wouldn't really talk to them without me being there. And then once he told them, like, all they cared about was that, oh, so your dad was there and this and that, like that. But my husband turned his own self in. Like, they didn't have to come get him. There wasn't nothing like that. He went with the lawyer. He turned his own self in. But with,
Voracious. Was he
yeah,
looking like this, like Denzel, like in this picture? Just a white man?
let me tell you something. His Denzel might look a little better than he was
Oh my God. Oh my God. Look, I needed us to have a visual.
because his
Look.
yeah. And could you imagine Denzel's suit being burgundy? That's what we got to
Oh
do
my
right
Oh
God.
no! So he looked like Ron Burgundy
there.
on the motherfucking.
Oh yes,
That's exactly what he
yes,
looked like.
yes. Perfect
Oh
picture.
my God.
Anchorman.
Oh my
Okay.
god!
Yes.
Oh,
It
Oh,
was.
I got another question, V1. So damn, I almost forget. Oh, so how far were they from the bar where they was having the drinks at? Because you said that the place where they was hanging out to drink and stuff, it had lawyers and doctors and stuff like that in there. So how
So that
far
was
were
a
they from
whole.
there?
So that's a whole nother town. Where they was at is where like I went to school at, right?
Hmm.
So, which is the next town over, pretty much. So he had to bring them back into this where we in our town that we lived in from where they were at. That was another thing. Is like how I wound up in that area because my first two, because I went to Westmoreland County and I went to Seton Hill. And Seton Hill was how I actually got to we was living where we was because I was like, okay, I want to be closer to school and stuff. Because before that, I was like an hour away, but I used to make the commute every day and stuff like that, tearing the highway up. But when we moved there, like that's really, and I was like, and I watched, and I think that's why I didn't, because everybody at Seton Hill, everybody was so nice and this, and it was like, oh, go ahead, da, 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 but I was in a different surrounding of people, and I think that's what I didn't realize, because I'm like thinking like, but since I don't deal with everybody like that, that didn't really make a big deal with me. Like I kind of wish my husband didn't deal with everybody like that, and we might not be here too, but that's not we supposed to be dealing with people. So
Yeah, what I was just trying to say, pinpoint, like if the guy was talking about he go in there and rob these people and your husband was stopping them, how did they say that your husband sat there an hour planning this? If the man already with your husband, or he just met him there or something?
they was together. They was out together. It was him
Oh,
to start it. It was my husband, him, and my son. That's
oh,
how it started. Then dude, he rambled up. I guess he went with these people, and like I said, he was in an addiction. So I guess he thought that he was going to get to do whatever with them or whatever. I don't know. But then at a certain time, maybe he felt like he wasn't, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I just want the whole thing or whatever he got." But then it turn around, he probably didn't even have the right stuff. I don't even know, because the people never got their stuff. They never said they found anything on him, and that was another thing. Remember the paid lawyer that we had? So when I met with him, he
mhm,
told me that he's like, "Yo, such and such didn't even have no drugs in his system, right?" When they gave me the discovery, he gave me everything except the autopsy, right?
mhm,
The reason he didn't give me the autopsy was because his system was full of drugs. So
mhm.
that's how I knew, that's, and I told my husband then, like, yeah, like he been playing us from the whole time. Because why would he keep that? Oh, that didn't come in yet. That didn't come in yet. Well, when is it getting in? And and he still, but we had to wait until it went to the other lawyer, and then that's when we found out. So like he does, like, I'm trying to do, I don't know if I gotta do everything at one time, but I want my 7 grand back from him for sure, and because I can use that for something for another lawyer. But he like refused, like he really think he's over, and I just maintain that I'm going to get that back, and then we're gonna move forward with everything.
So what about as far as the evidence with the gun and everything? Like I'm sure they do fingerprints was on the gun and all this other stuff, and you know what I'm saying, with your son saying that he touched your husband touched with the gun from him and all this other stuff. Like how was
E-
that not
Even
put
though
into
my
place?
son said that he tussled the gun, like my husband said, my son said they was totally into a fight for the gun, and then at the end of it, and then that's the only piece that they will play, is that when the altercation, once they back, that my husband had the gun in his hand. That's the only piece of my son's testimony that they played in court.
Right, but who was the gun registered to?
It was registered to nobody. It's probably hot or whatever. It was
Right,
registered.
but I'm even so with that, they would see who put the bullets in the damn gun and all the other stuff, right?
It was no, yeah. They said it wasn't no, like they didn't get no fingerprints on the bullets or nothing like that. Well, they never found the gun. So my husband said after he shot and then dude fell, my husband said he dropped the gun. That's when he looked for my son and he told him to jump in the car, and then that's when they came to the house. So they said they never, the only person that it was a lady that came out. She heard the shots. She said it was like a couple of seconds. She was running out. She's the one that called 911. Um, then they was like, oh, it was two guys. They saw somebody run through an alley or whatever. Like they had so many stories that it was crazy. So like what really happened, we don't know. And honestly, they might even have the gun and still,
Yeah,
because
that's how I said they had the gun and they just had an evidence because they ain't no way you charge somebody life and you don't have no evidence of a gun.
and then we are too in a state where even if the jury makes a decision that, hey, this person is guilty or whatever, whatever, and the judge does not feel like the evidence pointed there, the judge can overturn the jury. We are in a state that actually can do that as well.
Oh hell no.
So it's just a whole bunch of things that is just like, hey, none of this is making sense. But I figured they wanted me to tell the world how they are, so this is why they doing this. Because most times people here, like I said that before, they do not stand up for themselves. They take it and they say, "Oh, whatever, I don't want no problems." But the difference between most people and me, I don't mind a right problem. You know, like if this is gonna solve, if this is what I'm here for, this is what we're gonna do.
What
This
else?
this is how we're gonna do this because I'm not gonna stay shut. You're not gonna just think you're gonna just break my family down like that because you mad because you want to break up another because why he wasn't in jail. They was so upset that he didn't have no record because they was sure he had a record in New York. And when they was like, he don't even, yeah, they was so upset about that. Like, what do you think? People just all that's what they do with their life, just go around committing crimes. That's not a normal thing. That's just what some people do.
Straight racially profiling and everything. Like this shit crazy.
It definitely is. Um, so I had because we was talking about. So I have another video. I think it's I don't know how many minutes it is. Okay, so this one attorney, and this is in PA. I tried to keep it to like PA lawyers and stuff like that. So he was more like hold up, is this the same one? Okay. So he's like the public defender versus a private lawyer. So he's basically saying like your best option in a lot of cases is a public defender. Um, so at first, and then I'm gonna tell you what, because somebody had told me this in the beginning, and then that's why I was like, okay, let's see, maybe we can rob because they said they're trying to create a name for themselves, and the cases like this is how they create a name for themselves, right? But not knowing at this time that the lawyer that they gave him was fighting stage 4 cancer, he not trying to create no
Mhm.
name for himself. I don't know what he trying to do for himself. He
Yeah.
just trying to be
And that's
relevant.
too many variables. There are too many variables to just blatantly or blanketly say, "Oh, it's a it's a good thing to have a public defender." It's just too many things that could be going on and can go wrong with that mindset. But I want to hear what he has to say.
Court the other day, and I heard someone say that it is better to go with a private lawyer than it was to go with the public defender. And I thought to myself, hold on a second. Some of the best lawyers I've ever met in my life were public defenders. So in this video, I want to go over the top 5 reasons why you may decide to go with a public defender. And if you stick around to the end, I'll talk about 3 of the major reasons why some people choose to go with a private lawyer coming up. Hello, my name is Clyde Willamo, and I am a lawyer in the Chicagoland area. And in Law Talk for Non-Lawyers, we talk about the law in plain English. And in this video, I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons why you may decide to go with the public defender. All right, reason number 1, of course, is the money. You don't have to pay to have a public defender represent you. Whereas if you went with private counsel, you would have to pay a significant amount of money. And that doesn't include anything additional that may be necessary in your case, such as an investigation or such as experts. Those things cost money. And if you went with a private lawyer, you would be responsible for paying for those things. And the more time that your lawyer dedicates to your case, the more you should expect to pay your lawyer. But that is not the case when you go with a public defender. If it's an investigation, if it's an expert, if it's pretrial motions, if it's a jury trial, all those things are covered under the public defender. They will do those things free of cost, which is huge. So if you're thinking about going the long haul and taking your case to a trial in front of a jury, it is the public defender who will be able to do all of those items free of charge. Moving on to the second reason, which is that the public defender is only assigned to a specific judge or a specific number of judges. What that means is they get to learn the judges and their quirks. Is this the kind of judge who's fire and brimstone? Or is this the kind of judge who shows a lot of grace and mercy? What is this judge's prerogative when in handling these kinds of cases? Those are things that, because the public defender only appears before a small number of judges, they start to develop that experience, that memory of how these judges act in certain kinds of cases. You see, private lawyers, they go from courthouse to courthouse, from city to city, or county to county, representing their clients wherever they may get them. So what that means is they may not have the experience with a specific judge, the one who may be handling your case. However, the public defenders, who are constantly in front of the same judges, they can give you that experience of, hey, look, I've seen this judge do this in the past or do that in the past. And that kind of knowledge is invaluable in determining what would be the best progress of your case. So remember, public defenders are appearing before a small number of judges, as opposed to private counsels who would appear before many judges across many counties. Here's the third tip, is that public defenders know the state's attorney or the prosecutor who's assigned to your case. What does that mean? That means that they can go ahead and communicate with that prosecutor and know what that prosecutor is probably going to say, just because they've been with that prosecutor for an extended period of time. Is this a prosecutor who's new? Is this a prosecutor who tries to avoid going to trial? Is this a prosecutor who has great experience and always dots his I's and cross his T's? These are the kind of things that public defenders start to learn over time that your private lawyer may not know if he's bouncing from place to place or she's going from courtroom to courtroom and county to county. They don't start to develop those kind of relationships with the prosecutors. So it's very important that sometimes public defenders do know and can share with you, what is this prosecutor like? Is this the kind of guy that you want to mess with? Or is this the kind of guy that does not play games? This is something that your public defender would be able to tell you that sometimes a private lawyer cannot. Hey, if you're getting value out of this video, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to this channel. It really helps out a lot. All right, back to the video. Moving on to the fourth reason, the public defender has a 100% legal practice. And let me explain. When you're a private lawyer, some of your practice involves meeting with clients, reviewing discovery, filing motions, and going to court. But another aspect of your practice is advertising, is intake, is collecting money from clients. These are business things that a lawyer who's engaged in the business of law needs to worry about. Not the case with the public defender. The public defender is probably in the courtroom from the morning to lunchtime, and then in the afternoon they're going down to the jail, meeting with their clients, handling motions. They're doing 100% legal work. And let me tell you, one of the benefits are, what happens when you stop paying your private lawyer? Your private lawyer will get off of your case. They are not going to work for free. And you wouldn't expect them to, but not the case with a public defender. You stop paying your public defender, and guess what? You never started paying your public defender, and it's perfectly fine. They will continue to represent you. So this is one of the huge benefits, that their loyalty is to you. They don't have to worry about finances. These lawyers are going to be worried about making sure that your wishes are carried out, okay? So that's one of the benefits. Sometimes when you go with a private lawyer, what happens if there's...
All right, kind of enough of him. So, do you see the stuff that he's saying that you get out of public defender and stuff like that, right?
He ain't getting no cases. He ain't getting no cases.
Yeah, he can't.
Big one.
Yeah.
So
And even he thought he was making some good points, but you're acting like, oh, so if you're a public, all I heard from him is that, oh, these public defenders, they're friends, and they can, and they're going to be unethical. That's all I got from what he was saying. Oh, they know them, they're friends with them, they're like, this is all the stuff that, your husband kind of dealt with a little bit of this,
and
and
he
it
what
wasn't
he's
good.
saying, he's saying more, you get out more than my husband got. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, so imagine that, and then you get less than that. Like when I'm watching it, I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? That is not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know. To me, okay, so like I said, his original PD passed away. So it was a secondary on there that had taken the bar, and now so instead of, there was a lawyer that was there, and she has a private practice, but she's also a PD. However, we was hoping to get her on the case, like, for them to switch it over. The supervisor wouldn't switch it over to her. He wanted to keep the secondary guy on there who just passed the bar. So, of course, like, okay, so one of my things is to watch people, watch their actions, watch their emotions and stuff like that, because that's how I get to know people, right? With him, I go to the courtroom because, and that's the thing, like, that's what they probably didn't understand. Because some days, and even when I was like really in pain and stuff like that, I would go there just to watch the lawyers and watch the judge. And
Yeah, they didn't like that shit because you seen how they treating other people besides how they treating your husband. So yeah, they didn't like that. That's oh, these them people did y'all bogus as hell. And I'm sorry
yeah,
y'all even going through this.
that's why I say I can't believe this is like movies that I seen. Like, and I told my husband, I was like, yo, when this is over, I said, you got a whole movie to do. I said, because I've seen this
Shit,
in
he
movies.
could start filming now, and maybe that'll get his case noticed by somebody else.
That's true.
He could start now documenting stuff, and you know what I'm saying, with your help and with this channel and everything, and you know what I'm saying, connect the dots on that way, and maybe a whole nother state or somebody else will pick it up. You know what I'm saying? Because this is unethical as hell.
It definitely is. And I forgot what I was gonna say.
You got a dying man representing y'all. You got one that's friends and baby father and mother of somebody else that was paying for the other lawyer. Like this is crazy.
Right. And then because, and they said that and he was like, so I don't know. I believe we found out at the end that he went to school with the kids of the baby mother, went to school with the grandmother. So yeah, we a small town, they niched. It's like we didn't have a chance from the beginning. Like I realized that, well, like after, but he did say though there was another guy who they had gave him a life sentence. He had this one lawyer because I didn't know if they was going to try to pull my son into it as well. So I had went out and I retained a lawyer from him for him just in case they tried to pull my son in, right? So the lawyer that I was pulling in for my son has said that he wished that if I had any other lawyer, because he's friends with that same other lawyer, right? That we had got. He said if it had been anybody else, he said he would have snatched the case from that person. But because of their standing, he couldn't do that. But if my son, if it came down to it, he would represent my son and, whatever, everything would be good. He had a case that just got the person, same type of case, but the guy was Caucasian, and they are able to overturn the guy. He already did 11 years, so he's gonna have to do one more year, and then they're gonna let him go home. So his case was overturned. So I know it can happen. We just got to find the right person to do it because this particular lawyer, and I said I'm going to contact him as well on Monday because all of this just happened. The guy just got his letter yesterday, um, allegedly or something. Oh yeah, I didn't do that fair disclaimer act and all of that. I didn't put that up. Um, So, with that being said, I'm going to contact that lawyer again and see like what we can do, like what we could talk about. Like I'm just trying to see get him somebody to represent him so he can get out there and then we'll do whatever from the outside. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah.
so like this whole thing is like unfortunate and I cannot believe I'm like, yo, it's you know how see it seem like somebody playing in your face and it's just like they're playing in our face.
They are. They are. And it's very, very much unfortunate. Because I,
Yep.
I don't believe like it was, for y'all to go through that many lawyers, it wasn't not one good lawyer with good standards that could have lived through 30 years of giving somebody life. Like, come on now. Why I ain't no way in hell nobody is gonna represent me and they got cancer.
No, that's something that he should have been on paperwork duty. That and that was it. And then
No, he
honestly,
should have
I would
been
have had
in
Yeah,
somebody.
I
I
wouldn't
would have
even
had
want him on
somebody check the
papermark
paperwork
duty. Yeah,
behind him.
I wouldn't
You
even want
know
him. Mm-mm.
exactly.
no, he
Because
wasn't
you
supposed
was
to
doing
be
too
doing
much
nothing.
medication. Yeah, you were supposed to step down if you're in the process of that treatment and stuff like that. That's a bit much. Mm-mm.
So you're right, and to me, it's like the whole thing was just a setup, and
Do you have any your husband like old interviews and stuff like that?
yeah, I have all of that. I'm trying to like right now, I'm gonna do shorts and put it on my page so you can see like key points of like his interview, what he was doing, stuff like that. Um, I just like I'm trying to get into the flow of it. Like I'm learning this, learning that, learning different things because although I'm not gonna lie, when he first started his journey, I was the person on the computer doing this and doing that because how technology was back then, you needed two people to do stuff. And the one thing that he would hate, and I hope I can pull up those shows, he used to hate. I used to end all his shows with "We Are the World." He used to hate that, but I did it anyway. And he but then after a while, like when everything started getting better, he started getting different programs and stuff started coming up. Things got better. Then he didn't need me, so he was able to do his shows by himself, and stuff like that. He ain't play We Are the World either, but it was cool, and he always was like, come on, sit down so I can show you this, sit down, show you that. And I was like, nah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And then when this happened, I said to him, I was like, man, I should have sat down at least 5 of those days. I would know something right now, you know and I didn't. I just don't. And something, I'm gonna say this, and it was like crazy for me the year before this happened. For Father's Day, I gifted him everything because for his business, like what was going to help him was doing t-shirts, because we used to go to this one spot and we used to spend so much money on getting t-shirts made for his advertisement, promotion, and stuff. So what I gifted him into his business was his t-shirt press, the computer, like everything that he needed to get his business started, right? And he was spending all of that time, and he had just started getting everything going and learned how to do it, and getting the t-shirts and stuff done. um like right now I still wear some of his first projects where the picture is not even clear, but he was learning, and but I still like, this was the beginning of that. And to for all of this, like everything that he had worked for over like 12 years, to just come to this one night, I was like, wow, I just feel like a certain way about it. And I felt like he need to, how Natalie always say, oh, you got to get your lick back. I feel like he need to get his lick back. you know, so we can get this going.
Pretty much. Man, I'm at a loss for words. Shit.
Yeah. And yo, I really appreciate you guys listening to the story, being interested in the story and everything. Because like this is I mean, like a lot of things is going on and with the stars and this, I mean, but this is like real life. Like this is stuff that's going on, like real life right now. And why? Like I can't even explain why.
So
Well,
up
we
and
here
up
for the ride
until
with you, Voracious. We here for the ride to
yeah, we
learn
here.
about everything
Yeah,
and see what we can do.
yeah. As far as like his I forgot what I was finna say. His was he still doing the radio up until the day this happened, or he was doing something else?
No, he was doing his station. Like he had a whole following. I need to go on and kind of reach out to his people and stuff and let them know what I was doing. Like he had like this
Mhm.
whole following and stuff. But I knew of everybody. Well, I knew of them, but I wasn't a part of them, you know. So
But is it any way for you to like launch a like a basically a shadow of his radio station like on a podcast, like for on your YouTube or anything like that, like to try to restart it back and gain those people back?
I'm pretty sure I could because I know because like most of them it came to the point where I'm pretty sure they was like, "Hey, this is the same music," because that's what he was known for. He got the new music, like because he was in part of this underground. What you call it? Nerf DJs. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of Nerf DJs, but he was part of Nerf DJs,
Okay.
and he I just started trying to get back because he told me who to get in contact from Nerf DJs. So I sent the dude the email and stuff. So hopefully he get in contact with me and then the other DJs because we used to go to like different states like well on the East Coast, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, just to do shows and stuff because that's way because he's a DJ, and that's how we used to go. And then he used to stream from there and stuff like that. So it's just like I have to connect with his
Yeah.
father.
Yeah, that's what I was basically saying. Like, get his community back to back you up first. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You'll have that part, that strong part of him. You know what I'm saying? So you won't have just us that don't really know nothing about, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, your husband and stuff like that.
Were you guys ever to bring character witnesses and things like that during the trial? Seems so. Once to somebody fighting for their life, 4 days seems like so short of a time for a trial.
I agree. I
They
agree.
had they
But
had
I
it
feel
planned
like they
out.
were trying to rush it. To me, the whole trial was rushed because the first day I wasn't even there. And that was the day they witnessed because it was a guy and a girl. And even when I read the transcripts, I hear the prosecutor leading, right? Where his lawyer was supposed to be on point to stop that. In the words that was being said on the transcript, you see that the prosecutor was leading, that these people didn't remember nothing that was going on, and they were saying, and that night my husband had on a yellow jacket, and they was focused on that yellow jacket, and then they was like the guy, he couldn't tell him who the guy was in the yellow jacket or nothing. They remember the yellow jacket, but it was put it like he was like the guy was just like, oh, and then he was like, well, is that him? Is that him over there on the stand? What the guy gonna say? This is the person you got on the stand for the crime. Yeah, well, yeah, but then the one guy he didn't say that first. The prosecutor had to kind of make dude say that. So I wonder what that was about. You
That's
know,
mistrial. Some more mistrial
it's
shit. 'Cause
so,
you
oh my
can't
God, this whole thing is a mistrial. And
right.
we are like, how do we get it to the state? But my husband wrote, like, let me say, he wrote so many letters. At one point, I could not get him to stop writing. I was like, could you just take a minute, stop writing for a second? Because the Supreme Court told him if he wrote another letter to them that they was not going to um allow him any more instances on anything because he had wrote them so many letters. Now, I personally feel like that's a violation because you're the Supreme Court. If you get 100 letters for somebody fighting for their life, that's what it is. Because that's what this is. To me, it's like they not taking it serious that this man is fighting for his life. It's just like they feel like they used to people just not caring. Oh, whatever, do with me, whatever. No, he's not like that. That's not where we come from, you know. And like I tell a lot of people, I get why they probably don't like New Yorkers down here, but that's not our fault. That's their interpretation of whatever it is that they think. But we got to fight. If something is wrong, you have to fight for your rights. Everybody's just not going to take it.
So the jail, they ain't transferred him or nothing like that. He's still in the same state as you.
Yeah, they actually put him. He's like an hour away from me, so that's kind of a blessing. I was able to
Okay.
finally go see him 2 weeks ago because of me not being able to walk and stuff. I had
Hmm.
not seen my husband for like a whole since last May until about 2 weeks ago. Um Yeah. So that was good that they didn't send him all the way someplace else, which is what they like to do because the one thing too, the prison system, I guess it's like that everywhere. It's all prison systems. It's not family oriented. It's more like they want the family to put them there and once they get there, they want the family, oh, I'm gonna forget about this person, and then they do whatever, and then the person be down, and then the person do this and this and that, and it's not like that. Like I told, because when this first happened, he did tell me like, i don't expect you to um I don't expect you to ride with me. I don't think it would be fair for you to be caught up in this. And he told me like, oh, okay, I want you to go out and live your life. And I told him like, okay, so words mean a lot to me, right? When we got married, I took all those words serious, and that's where we at. And I know that if he was like, okay, if I had married a criminal, I would accept whatever, because I will be prepared for this already. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what he is, but that's not what he is. So with that being said, and we ain't never been in nothing like this in our life. Anything like legal wise, it's always been small. Yeah, we had to pay a fine. That's my biggest thing. Oh, we had to pay a fine. And that will be it. But I'm not the type of person that's going to be like, oh, well, you in there. And I did have a friend, and it kind of, and this is like how people get like, oh, well, he's in there, or he got life. Like, well, what you gonna do now? Like, like you just roll over and you lose feelings and stuff like that. Like, yeah, no, it don't go like that. Do you understand that this is not right? This shouldn't have never happened like that, but I get it. Like, had surrounded my people with I had surrounded myself with people who probably didn't have the type of fight that I have in me, and that's why they didn't understand me in the first place, you know. And I've always been a child of God. God has always led me. Now, if I get there and I do the wrong thing, he has slapped me in my face, but I've never had to do nothing really crazy, you know. But right now, I feel like now I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, okay, this needs attention. I need to fix this. I need to help other people who are in this situation, because since he's been in there, it's been like at least about 15 other people in his situation that probably shouldn't even be in there. But because they want to keep their numbers up, hey, we got this conviction, that conviction, this conviction, but you're not getting the convictions because this is really the right thing to do. You're getting conviction because you're bamboozling people and putting people in jail for long periods of time that's not supposed to be in there. Meanwhile, I had to go to court one day and the boy beat his grandmother up so bad. Then he went to treatment, right? And then it was like, okay, since you went to treatment, it's okay. Apologize to your grandmother. I was like, what? So basically, you saying that this dude, the grandmother is still responsible for you, for him, and you gonna let him just be in there with her, and you don't know. As soon as he start using again, here he go. He's gonna be his grandmother again because she won't give him what he want. So it's definitely a difference with skin color in Westmoreland County PA courtroom. I watched it. I it,
Yeah, these red states is
yeah,
these red states is crazy.
the brown skins, they will not no time that I have been in court, and like I said, I will go there some days just to sit, not in this courtroom, they in different courtrooms. It's one judge I'm gonna say, and that's who I would have liked my husband to get. But when that judge had to take over for one of my court dates, his lawyer, that was the paid lawyer at the time, he had what you call that, when you tell them like, oh, we're gonna bypass this day and whatever. So his lawyer did that against my husband's will. So that's another thing. Like, it's so many things that was done, and like I save every document. Every time something happened, I go on and I get it and I save it. Why? Because they be making stuff disappear, and I'm like, not on my watch. So I just make sure I have all the documents that I need. So once he did that, like, why? Oh, you don't want him because he's going to do such and such. No, you don't want him because he's going to do the right thing. And you know, this judge is your friend and these people are your friend, and you're railroading my husband. That's what's happening. It's it's just it's just a lot. And then, and that's the way I speak to people, and that's the way well, not people, but that's the way I was speaking to him and stuff like that. And then he's like, and one time, like, okay, so he was in there, and then we found out that the guy may have been the supplier of substances for the lawyer. My husband, of course, wrote a letter about that. Um, I went to the lawyer and I asked him that letter. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well,
The
that's why they ain't want him writing no more letters because he
I
was exposing their ass already.
and I went down there to him and I asked. I said, "Look, this is what was said. How much truth is in this?" So then he's gonna say to me, he was like, "And I feel like that's a disrespect for you to even ask me that." I said, no. I said, it's a disrespect if I don't ask you. I said, I'm giving you the opportunity to clean it up. I said, so I can just run out there and say whatever I want to say. I said, but I'm coming to you to ask you, is this what's going on? I said, because if this is what's going on, he's like, well, I'm a lawyer and this, like, because he's a lawyer, like he couldn't be involved in that. I said, well, at the same time, you have to remember that you did just have a heart condition, and that substance is associated with heart conditions. I said, so with that being said, I need you to be clear with me. I said, because this is where he's at, because you're not talking to him. Because mind you, we're paying this man, and he had not went one time to see my husband. He only saw him when he came down to the court. That's when he saw him. So what was we really paying him for?
For nothing to do what he did.
Exactly.
Nothing. You need to try to look up people cases that's that got complaints against those judges and lawyers and stuff. Try to look up some stuff like that.
That's what I've been looking up, but like I said, they have things pretty much um they got things pretty much like it's kind of hard to find stuff. And I'm like usually good at finding stuff, and it's hard for me to find certain things. So I find most of my stuff though going incognito, because I go incognito and then I change my VPN to like another country. Then that's how I'm able to pull up some stuff. Gigi, did y'all ask for another lawyer because you could have? Gigi, he tried and we didn't get nowhere. I feel like the judge already had something against him because he wrote that letter, because that other lawyer, I'ma still say, is his friend, and he is defending his friend, and he would not change them. The only reason he changed them from the first lawyer was because dude left. And I think dude left because he was not trying to do what he wanted them to do. Like, it's one jury member that once he sat for them to swear them in and stuff like that, after that, the jury member remembered that he had a doctor's appointment the next day and he wasn't going to be able to do it. They did everything that they could, like, and then they finally dismissed him, but he is the only person named, the only jury member they put his name in the transcript. So I reached out to like a couple of, because the name is not that uncommon. It's a common name. So I'm trying to figure out, and they even kind of gave you where he lived at. So I looked up that and I reached out to a couple of people, and I'm hoping that that person reached back, because I would like to know why why he didn't want to stay on the case, because I think he's the person that's going to help break the case. Because it's whatever they said after they were sworn in, whatever he heard from jury members after that, because I feel like they had a verdict on my husband before the case started.
Well, they basically, when you can't talk about it once you leave the courtroom and stuff like that. So I don't know how you'll probably have to get him subpoenaed to court or something like that. But they not allowed to even speak about why they left or what happened or anything.
Even when they're a free person.
Yeah, I mean, once you been on the jury duty, you can't explain. I mean, you can't have that conversation with nobody. And that's wherever he said as far as why he didn't want to be there, or the excuse that he gave to get out or whatever, out of the jury duty and all that stuff. That's why they went on and put his name, so they'll know who not to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Who can't be spoken to. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna disclose the people that actually gave the verdict. You know
The
what I'm
verdict,
saying?
right? Yeah, they not disclosed. Like for them, like
No, they
exactly
gonna
four
put him
people.
out. They're gonna put him out
Right,
there so everybody will know that if anything was to get out, it came from this person because you were able to search him. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So it's basically another form of blackballing in the courtroom. Shit.
Yeah. So I think that's the only wait.
Heavy, we need to find a way how to get to the to the capital with this. Shit.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna figure out where these two people at, because I think one time before I heard that Fetterman, he had to be at the Capitol in Washington. So I say with him, but with both of them, if they're gonna be in Harrisburg or if they're gonna be in Washington, wherever it is, I'm up for the drive now. Yeah, I may have to stop a couple of times because I gotta get up, stretch out, whatever, whatever. But this is gonna happen because I had enough time, like all that time I was sitting around, can't do nothing. That's when I was actually like researching and looking this up, looking that up, which I wasn't doing before because when I was working and it first happened, I didn't have time to do that because I had clients and stuff and I had a commitment and everything like that. So, but then it came to the point where all I had to do was kind of work on my husband's case, and then it's just been like, wow, this is crazy. What's going on here? Like, how am I even just still, but yeah, now we definitely got to figure this out. And I feel the same way because honestly, even the close family members, I'm heavy. Yes, with his PD health condition alone is a mistrial. I feel even when I have dealt with family members, their mental health is affected. You know what I'm saying? So it's no way that they can sit down because let me tell you something. They want to bring in expert witnesses. I can bring in as many. Like I got colleagues that can talk on this. So with that being said, let's go because he could not have been focused on my husband and his well-being in his condition in no circumstance, in no way. I had like two videos where it was talking to people that's dealing with cancer
Hmm.
and like they're feeling like how it's cancer and their mental health.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. A lot of work, but it definitely is on our end. It sounds like an open closed case, but it's a whole lot of footwork to it.
Right.
And they definitely knew that they knew what they was doing when they did it. Because like I said, ain't no way you just switch all these lawyers out and every last one of them bad, except for one. The one that was good, you got rid of.
Right.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize the impact of mental health after cancer. I was diagnosed with cancer about 7 years ago, but along the line, 2010, I was diagnosed. 2000 and no 2012, 13, I had depression, but I was shying away from it, didn't want to talk about it. And it's just such a taboo subject where I come from. But I happy I met someone at Macmillan that said, "Look, you need professional help." But I didn't know where to get this professional help, and I'm still part of like a cancer voice, a patient representative, and going through all those meetings and being enlightened pointed me in the right direction. I got some help, but it's just to let people know that yes, sometimes you go through life, people are just looking at you, oh yeah, you're fine, but you might be going through things that people are not aware of. And it's really nice to talk about it and get help, and for other people to look at signs, because I isolated myself. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was really covering it up. And even to the extent that I nearly wanted to kill myself. But this is not one things you say. Those suicidal thoughts keep coming out. But I'm glad I am where I am now, and just looking after myself and just making sure people look out for each other. And that's my take on cancer and mental health.
Hello.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that was just like her take, and she told you about her mental health, and she went into remission, you know. So like that tells you about somebody who didn't go into remission, where they are at. So she started feeling better because she went into remission. So it became more positive for her.
Hmm. So how old was this man when he passed from his cancer?
Um, okay. I honestly I don't know. He looked like he could have been 70, but he probably wasn't. He probably was like 60 something. Could have been in his 50s. I really don't know. Because you know when you have certain illnesses and stuff,
Right,
you
and
look
make him recover.
more, yeah. And I probably only feel like he could have been 70 because of the suit. I told you, the suit had me caught up. It had me caught up for the whole every day for that trial. And I kept saying, is that a different burgundy suit or the same suit? Is he getting up every day putting on the same suit or all his suits burgundy? Like,
That's crazy.
hey, Denisha, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Indonesia.
But yeah, so with that, I wanna this is where we like so this is where it is. I thought because I'm trying to fill in before I start with the transcripts, I'm trying to fill in every question and everything because that big part was, can the lawyer with stage 4 cancer be mentally available for the task? Personally, in my experience, I'm gonna say no. And I'm pretty sure as many as I would also like to get some people, and I'm trying to get some people that have expertise in the field to come on and actually like say, hey, you know what, well, this is this and that's that, you know.
As far as cancer.
Yeah, like what
Okay.
he could have been, because we know what we feel like, you know what I'm saying, because we all know, because honestly, yeah, no, I don't think so. But like I said, my only experience in the field is when I was in school. It's what I did, and I all my whole school I did that. Life shortening disease, gerontology, death and dying. I did all of that, and I know what I dealt with. So when it came to like once I got out of school and I was already ready to jump into it, God said, "Hey, no, I'm gonna throw you into addiction." You know, and then that's the way I've kind of been, just mentally helping people rebuild themselves, rebuild their self-esteem and stuff like that, which is all a broader term because honestly, it will come to, and that was and I think that's why it happened like that, because I am a very emotional person. Because it would come to the person with deceased, then I have the family, and then we'd be like, okay, so we start groups and stuff with you. But then I was a part of the group that was the end of the relationship. You know, at least in the field that I was in, I would still always have a relationship because even though I've been out of work for over a year, like I still have clients on a regular basis that call me, like, be like, hey, I'm doing this and that. I'm doing this, and then they're like, okay, see, and they always shout me out and stuff like that. So I feel like that's why God led me into that position, because like that whole final thing, I'm probably too emotional for that. Like I need to like wait a minute before I just dive into that, because I know it's final with mostly everything with that. Um so I really appreciate everybody for coming. Um Now this is the time, I guess I would say, we have to process what we talked about today, and then like and then and what happened is I'll think about, okay, so this goes with that and this, and then I'll come back and do another show, because I want to get everything out before I get to the transcripts, because the transcripts are going to be like funny, because like I said, another thing that I want to top, and maybe if you want to look up
Mhm.
the Okay, so I did EMS for 15 years before everything else. When I was in New York, that's what I did. I did EMS and I worked in the ER. I had two full-time jobs in New York.
Hmm.
I worked in the level one trauma center and I was doing EMS. So in that, we used to have to do reports when we came upon people and gunshot wounds and stuff. With gunshot wounds, the entrance, it pulled the skin in. Where the exit was, it mushroomed, right? So
Hmm.
that's how we was able to document what we saw as the entrance room and what we saw as the exit,
Excellent. Yeah.
right? So in the case, in my husband's case, we're gonna get some information on that, which I know it to which for me, I guess they didn't count on me knowing some stuff because I didn't wrote the medical examiner. She
Hmm.
literally went to school in New York. What they didn't count on is that probably her professor was my professor. I have written in New York to get my husband's case exposed to get them, and I gave them permission to look at it. So they can't say, "Oh, you can't look at this." No, I gave them permission because since I'm his wife, I have the obligation. I can do that because I
Hmm.
want them to look at that because I want them to pull her card because she gave misinformation about that.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, I want like when you guys have some time, you just look onto that and see what you see about entrance wound and exit wound of gunshots and tell me what, and we'll talk about that probably in the next show or another show, moving forward.
Okay.
Um, so I appreciate everybody for coming tonight. And I feel like I held you hostage. I am so sorry.
No, you ain't hold us hostage. This is very much we are the world. You know what I'm saying? This is a we are the world moment. You know what I'm saying? This is is so much, but it's so much that's needed.
I'm gonna tell him you said that. I'm gonna say, hey, Tina said this is a we are the world moment, and he gonna be like, oh my god.
No, it is, and I think you should start it off as Whitney started off as that because he hated it so much, but he need you to be we are the world right now. So
Right,
that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
now you need the world to try to save your life instead of being in jail. So it's very much needed.
Yeah. So I thank you guys and have a great rest of your night. Of course, I'll be on tomorrow on Twitch with my morning service, and I appreciate you all and thank you.
Well,
Have an awesome evening.
you're very welcome, honey.
Bye.
See
Well,
y'all
not
later.
bye. See later. I'm gonna say later because I never say bye because bye is
No,
bad.
don't say bye.
So
You just
later.
say later. Ciao, Bella.
Ciao. Hold up, wait. I got a comment. I'm gonna let's see what the comment. Have a great evening. Okay, you have a great evening too. All right. Ciao.